Today is May the 4th, so let's take a closer look at some of our favorite Star Wars collectible displays for Star Wars Day.
Villa Varykino, living the Star Wars life.
Hello there and welcome back to the Villa Varykino YouTube channel. So today in New Zealand it is May the 4th, of course, and known as Star Wars Day. So we thought we'd celebrate with doing a little bit of a show and tell of some of our favorite Star Wars collectibles in our house. We have Star Wars collectibles throughout our house, and as you can imagine, as collectors, not all parts of the house are tidy. We have got a lot of collectibles in boxes as we kind of rearrange things and try and sort through, you know, as we get new figures and things like that. So we've got a few parts that are sort of tidy and looking pretty cool. So we thought we'd do a bit of a tour of our sort of more finished areas of display. Starting here is, as you can see, these are life-size Star Wars figures. I'm going to start here. We have a fabulous little gonk droid here. Behind, we have a full-size Han and Carbonite prop. We have a Imperial Royal Guard, a classic Stormtrooper. This is wearable Stormtrooper armor. This is Matt's original armor. This armor is more than 20 years old. That's why it looks a little yellow, because it is actually quite old. It's quite a relic. He was one of the original sort of 501st members way back when. He's been a member for more than 20 years with that armor. So it's quite nostalgic for us. Over here we have IG-88, very cool. He fits very well on our Death Star prop display. And then last but not least in this corner is of course R2-D2. So this is a two-legged version and he has the drink tray that that you see him with in Jabba's sail barge in Return of the Jedi, which was kind of fun because we felt like it would be a good sort of accessory for him. It does detach very easily, and we have actually put drinks on it to take some photos. I thought that was pretty fun. So moving on, if you've seen photos of our display room, this will be no surprise. This is the real screen used piece of the Outlander Bar as seen in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. This is the bar where Obi-Wan has a drink and mind tricks Elan Sleaze Pagano in Attack of the Clones just before disarming Zam Wesell. So that particular scene was filmed in the studios in Australia, and this piece of the bar was salvaged and brought over to New Zealand, where it now lives in our collection display. It's fully sort of lit up with all these panels and stuff like that. It is a pride of our collection, and of course we always sort of have to celebrate having a real piece of Star Wars in our collection on Star Wars Day. We've even had some blue drinks here at the bar. It is a real treasure to own a screen used piece. I know it's not something that a lot of people get to have in their collection, so that's very special for us. We of course have some Star Wars rugs on the floor and Star Wars posters on the wall. We've got some blank space here. We've got some posters that we're going to put up. And then over here, this is where I tend to put most of my Gentle Giant animated style statues and maquettes. They originally started with the original Clone Wars micro series before moving on to original trilogy. So a lot of these are quite old. They're very nostalgic for me, back in those early 2000s, especially the Padme Snow Bunny Ilum outfit, because I made that costume, and that particular maquette was very sought after and still goes for quite high prices compared to some of the other pieces in the collection. So these ones are behind glass because they are very special to me. Over here, this one is a little bit of a random shelf where we've got the old Hasbro Unleashed, random Black Series, random bits and pieces, Gentle Giants, the old Master Replicas mini lightsabers. I used to collect those quite a lot. So it's a little bit of a sort of a random spot. As I said, our collection is always kind of evolving and changing as collecting focuses and different collectibles come out. So this one tends to be where we put pieces that don't really go anywhere else. Through here, you might be able to see, we are working on a new zone to display our collection of Star Wars Funko Pop vinyls. We are sort of getting into this in a little bit more of a serious way. So this is a work in progress. It's not painted, it's not finished, but we just wanted to put in a lot of our Funkos and see how it's all coming together. And it's fabulous that we can finally get the bulk of our Star Wars pop vinyls out of all those plastic tubs and piles in the corner and actually get them on a shelf. We're eventually going to have most of the figures out of their boxes so we can see them nice and clearly in front of their boxes. You can see I've got a few of my Rey pieces out there, but this is really exciting. It's coming along. Still got a little bit of work to finish it, but we're very excited with how it's looking. Got a Slave Layer lenticular poster that I got very many years ago. And then in here, this is our main Star Wars collectible room. We call it the action figure room because, as you can see, it is mostly Star Wars action figures. This is where the bulk of our original 3/4 inch Hasbro and Kenner action figures live, along with a lot of vehicles and things like that. This room has evolved a lot over the years. We've gone through different bookcases. At the moment, we have a sort of a modular shelving unit, but it's one of those kind of things where we're always wondering about ways to improve it and add more space, because we redesigned this room with the current shelving before Disney bought Lucasfilm. So we thought, okay, 6 films, the Clone Wars, that's cool. They'll slowly add figures. We'll slowly be able to add to our collections. And then, of course, the sequels, The Mandalorian, Andor, Book of Boba Fett. So we have had to kind of try and wrangle some of the new stuff into this display space. But we are rapidly running out of room. We have got a lot of carded figures waiting for space to join. You can see we've got a section here for Solo. We've got Rogue One over here. We've got some sequel ones there. We've got the Rebels crew over there. We've got some of the prequels down here. More sequels. We've got a bit of space there. We've got a vehicle or two we want to fit in there somehow. Got to rearrange things. And then we've got kind of a big Clone Wars section here. It's all kind of a bit just all jumbled up. There's sort of some that are kind of more episode 2 or 3 and Clone Wars in there as well. Over here, this is again a little bit of a mix. We've got our Jawas, and then up here we've kind of got a bit of a Tusken, sort of Tatooine theme going on here. And then we go into Return of the Jedi over here. And then over here we've kind of got this sort of rebel base here with the Millennium Falcon and a whole lot of pilots and rebel leaders. We have the Toll Toys New Zealand cardboard Death Star under a protective dome, and we've got a little bit of a sort of a Death Star theme clustered around it. Then we have a Geonosis arena scene. And this is kind of our leftover prequel / Clone Wars area. We're still working on this one. It's a little tricky when you've got big flat things like the Jedi Council, along with some of the taller vehicles in that. We're still working on optimizing that particular zone, but we love having these sort of big spaces where we can put a lot of figures all together to create some cool scenes. Another bit of a random zone where we've got some, specific figures, like ones from Star Tours, some specific rare vintage ones in display cases. Then I've got some unique figures, like the original animated micro series Clone Wars, that cool animated style, and the sort of Ralph McQuarrie concept range. Some custom figures, these are actually quite old, back when Hasbro hadn't made a lot of all the sort of variant characters and that, so they've got some fun custom figures in there. This is our sort of Tatooine Cantina scene that continues through to a little bit of a sort of the mind trick scene with the droids over here. We try and sort of fill in some of the wall space with some carded figures in the star cases and things. But again, this is still a little bit of in flux. we try not to get too far down the carded figure rabbit hole, you know, trying to not double up on everything by having one carded, one loose. But there are some specific ones that we do like we've got the 501st one and a George Lucas one there, just things like that. And of course we keep vintage carded as well. This is my sort of random shelf, ones where I don't have full scenes or they're kind of outside of the sort of standard Star Wars films. So you might be able to recognize we've got Mara Jade and a lot of the comic and video game characters in here. We've got ones from The Force Unleashed, and in the front we've got Star Wars The Old Republic and KOTOR figures. And then this is my Padme Amidala section where I've pulled all my Padme figures into one place to sort of see all the different costumes and do sort of like a little dedicated section to it. This poor little R2-D2 is my very first Star Wars action figure, and he looks a little yellow and his electronics don't work anymore, which is a little bit sad, but I still love it, and I kind of have it there as a little reminder of where it all started. Coming down here, we have our sort of Empire Strikes Back and Hoth scenes. We've got Wampas, Rebels, Tauntauns, and then over here we sort of move into the Imperial section where we have an AT-ST and a very big AT-AT there, which is really cool. We had to kind of have a section cut out just to be able to fit this thing. It's so big. On the lower shelf here, we have a Phantom Menace section with the fabulous Royal Naboo Star Cruiser there. This thing is absolutely huge. You can kind of see it in relation to the AT-AT above it. This thing is so long. So we've put it with some of our other Phantom Menace figures. We've got a sort of a Duel of the Fates scene going on over here and some scenes there in the back. Moving on over here, we have a bit of a Endor Return of the Jedi scenes going on here with speeder bikes, Ewoks, Imperial Walkers. It's just all Endor in here. And then we've kind of got a little bit of a Empire Strikes Back fixing the Falcon scene here. This Falcon is big. We've got to find a better way to display it than sort of in this corner here. Moving up with the Falcon, we have Empire Strikes Back centered around Cloud City and Dagobah over here. Then, perhaps a little bit awkwardly, but again, we still need to find a best way to organize all of this. We have Mustafar and kind of an episode 3 duel scene here. This Mustafar volcano is kind of tall. We've got to find a better way to put it. Moving up, we have our episode 1 Naboo sort of combat scene where we have the Gungans versus the droid army. It's kind of fun. A lot of those battle droids like to fall over, so it's kind of helpful if you can make them look like they're being knocked over in battle, because their joints are very small and they tend to want to lean over. And then we've sort of got our Naboo guards there. Then we've got a little bit of a New Hope Death Star scene up here and some 12-inch figures up there, and we've got some sort of other bits and pieces that don't sort of fit elsewhere. We've got a lot of vehicles hanging from the ceiling. It's a slightly higher than a regular ceiling height compared to the rest of the house, and you can see we've got cool TIE fighters, and this is where we tend to put a lot of our carded figures that we're intending to keep carded. They fit nicely up there. We've got the Imperial Shuttle hanging up there, some more 12-inch figures, and this is more sort of Clone Wars vehicles. Slave 1, A-Wings, and some Rebel ships, and we're back here. So, as you can see, it's not like the best laid out. We've got certain movies split across shelves, but we have had to juggle things a lot with the addition of just a lot more Star Wars figures. As you can see, we do not have a Mandalorian section yet because we honestly don't know where that's going to go. We've got all those figures kind of sitting, waiting for us to rearrange. But as you can imagine, having done this once or twice before, the idea of taking all of these action figures down, putting them in Ziploc bags and sort of trying to rearrange everything so that we can fit some more shelves in here is a bit of a daunting task. We know that that is ahead of us, but we're just kind of, I guess, dragging our feet as long as we can, because we know that that is going to be an epic project. One that we'll be sure to document our progress when we do begin that endeavor, because I'm sure it is a hassle that a few of you are all too familiar with, having to sort of rearrange everything. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tour of some of our favorite displays in our house, the ones that are tidy. We're working on a few other zones, like our Funko Pop vinyl display shelves there, that we're hoping to be able to show here on our YouTube channel very shortly. So if you enjoy Star Wars collectibles and celebrating Star Wars through collecting, be sure to subscribe to follow along with our collecting adventures. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful Star Wars day, and may the Force be with you.
If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.